So would you go visit people in the stores on the front street, or did you just
we just
window shop?
and we carried our books in our arms. We didn't carry them in backpacks like they do today. I don't know what they keep in those backpacks, but they're loaded down.
Well, they're awfully heavy too,
Yeah.
I think.
No, ours didn't even have them covered up. Scribblers and the hardcover.
You had to carry your books back and forth all the time.
Yep.
What was the playground like at the school?
Well, the playground was the high school is and not there was all pine trees,
Okay,
and coming up
York Street.
York Street, you came through a nice grove of pine trees and into the playing field, which wasn't very much, but it's all we ever had,
Okay.
where the men played baseball and things like that.
So that would sort of be the town baseball field for the at
Yes,
the time?
as far as I know.
I see. Mm-hmm.
And then we came through that and reached the schoolhouse.
I see.
And we all lined up down the basements. There was a boys' basement.
Boys' door?
And the girls.
Okay.
They all lined up in your respective things and marched up the stairs to your class.
I see. So you came in through the basement door, not through that main door on Queen Street.
Not the front door.
Probably.
I guess we didn't come to the front door until we got more or less high school.
Till they took your picture when you were graduating.
Just about. Well, we didn't have a very big auditorium either.
There was no auditorium upstairs, or do you?
Yes, but not big.
Not a big one. No, not a
There was
very.
a stage too.
That's right. Okay.
And behind that was the dressing rooms, if they had a play or a concert or anything.
Do you remember any of the plays? Do you remember?
No, not really, dear.
Okay. Okay.
No.
Um,
Then we had the annex across the street later on, which I went to.
okay. Do you have any idea when that was built? You know, was that?
No, I was there in grade 4 with Florence Corkum. And let's see, who else was there? Elsie Weil, she had grade 7, I think, over there. And upstairs, I went, Ina Malik.
Yes.
Yeah. But I
What
don't
grade
know
did
where
she
we came-
teach?
Pardon, dear?
What grade did Ina Mullick teach?
Grade 7, I think it was.
Okay.
I should have kept my report cards with Mom kept my report cards, but I don't think she kept any of the rest of the family. And Stan found them over at the house when he was remodeling.
Is that
And I
right?
looked at them. I tore them up in a hurry.
Oh my goodness! You should have brought them to the museum.
Oh, my marks weren't that good. I wouldn't want everybody in town to see. Oh.
Not that many people would see them. What were the other thing up at the school? There were swings up at the school, weren't there?
Yes.
Yeah. Were they in the trees, and they
were
sort of hung from the trees, or
Well, we only had swings, and we had
a tilt?
slides,
A
and
slide?
tilts.
Okay.
That's all we had.
And there was a slide as well.
Yeah, they had some slides.
Oh, okay.
But they were all in among the pine trees, and it was
Yes.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just remember swings by my.
We didn't have any playground equipment over in the annex, of course. I suppose we were older. We just didn't need them.
I see. But you came back to the high school for the high school years.
Yes.
So the annex was the junior high school, sort
More or
of,
less,
the
yeah.
middle school. What other activities do you remember doing as children?
Oh, did you ever make pine needle houses?
No.
Well, over in the Grants,
Yes.
there's a great big pine tree. I don't know, is there one there now? I don't know.
I don't know.
I think
but-
she's taken one down. Well, anyway, they just, you scoop up pine needles and you, there, in a wall, and then you divide that into rooms.
Rooms. Oh,
And
you
the-
know, I actually think maybe I do remember that.
And then any broken dishes or anything anybody might have, would use them, pretend they were bigger ones.
Yeah. So you'd play house by
Yeah.
making pine needle houses.
Pine needle houses, yeah.
Um,
We used to play with like the Kellys. I know that house as well as I knew my own.
Who were the Kellys? How many people were in?
5.
5 Kellys.
Mr. Kelly worked on the railroad.
Yes.
There was Alva, Doreen, Goldie, Billy, and Audrey was the youngest.
Okay. And they lived right across the street.
Yes, that
from you.
little, right next to what was the Grant House.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, so.
What else did you, as teenagers, what did you do for fun?
Well, we coasted a lot.
Mm-hmm.
We'd start,
Where did you coast?
Donnie Rice and who else? Had what we call bobsleds.
Yes.
And we started where the call center is now, where the old hospital was.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, and coasted down, like Dufferin Street. And Mom
Right
would,
down Dufferin Street.
yeah.
Really?
And go in Miss Stewart's yard.
Wow.
Because that building on the corner of
Yes.
Miss Stewart's wasn't there.
No.
Mom would say, don't you coast down to the main street.
So you'd swish off.
We were short one.
Yeah. So you just go past Phoenix Street and in the, kind of right there where
It was great going down, but it was a long haul going back up.
Another lady told me the same thing about coasting down in Conquerall Bank, that
yeah.
they had a great time going down, but they had a long walk
And then
going
we used
back
to
up.
coast on what we call the alley hill some.
Yes.
Of course, there wasn't the traffic like there is
No.
today.
No.
And now they cleared all the streets off. You don't have any snow to coast
I
on.
know. Yeah.
And then once in a while we'd go up on a golf course, the old one,
Okay.
and we thought, and ski.
Yes.
Not
That's
very,
where,
not
no,
very good, but
but that's where people did ski, was
yeah,
up on the
we
golf
had a lot
course.
of fun on that.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's about all. And went to school. And,
What about, did you play tennis?
no, I didn't play tennis.
Do you know anything about the tennis club? Do you remember anything about the
I
tennis
just
club?
remember the Saturday afternoon teas that they had there. If you were a member, you could go, but if you weren't a member, you weren't supposed to go.
They were a little bit. Tell me the story though about the tennis balls and Mr. Powers.
Oh, well, Mr. Powers lived across from the tennis courts, and evidently our tennis courts weren't fenced in or anything, because if you lobbied a ball over that way, it ended up in Mr. Powers' yard or in the hedge that he had there, you forget about it because you were scared to go on the property to get it.
Oh, is that
Now,
right?
I don't think it would have done anything to us, but we didn't take the chance.
I see. I see.
And,
So, which of the March boys would have been playing tennis when you were at your age? Do you,
Well, I
do you
think
remember?
Stephen.
Stephen.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
he was one of the older ones.
And
I wasn't. He was older than we were. Anyway.
okay.
And in the houses around our end, if they didn't have any children or kids to play with, you didn't get near them. You didn't go to their house.
Okay. So you only knew the houses,
Really.
like the Kellys, where there were lots of
Yeah.
children in the house.
And we knew who lived in the other houses, but they were older people than we were, so we didn't.
You didn't know them. You didn't get to visit them. Where did you go to church?
Holy Trinity Anglican when I went. And
Okay.
Then I'm not a very good churchgoer. Then they had the what we call the AYPA, Anglican Young People's,
Association.
yeah, which was held in the parish hall
Okay.
once a week, I think.
All right. Now tell me about the parish hall, because living next door to it, you knew the difference between what it is now.
It was always there. I think that hall was built in 1918, they tell me.
Okay.
So my memories would be, later on as I got older, like in high school or as I say, it was always there.
But it would be sort of where the rectory is today.
Right. Yeah.
And
And the rectory was over further behind the church.
behind or sort of,
Yeah.
yeah.
And the rectory, when it was over there behind the church, it had steps up to it like that, then a veranda, and then a veranda around to the side,
Okay.
and a door there. That's where Mr. Bullock, Reverend Bullock, he was that was the study.
Okay.
But that latter people, I guess, got the minister or the house into an office in the parish hall.
Okay, that's the way that happened.
Yeah. And then they decided.
And then they moved the house
Oh, yeah, they moved
to
the
build the
house.
new parish hall.
I don't know who did it, but he said he'd never done it before, but he would take a chance to do it.
I saw it being done.
Yeah.
I was here when it was being rolled along the
And
street.
They almost pumped it on our property.
That's right.
Because we could sit in our kitchen window and look up.
Alexandra Avenue.
Yeah. No, you can't do that.
No.
Of course you can't. And I said, Reverend Clark was there, and he wasn't married. And I said, Barb, why didn't you take him to board? He's almost on top of you now. but
So what did they use the parish hall for besides the Anglican young people's?
well, they used the guild
Yes.
used to have teas,
Okay.
and
There were quite a few teas in those days,
oh yeah,
weren't
Christmas tea and the sale and the Easter.
there? I think they had a fall one too. I think churches
and then
had.
they used to have some suppers, but not as much as and the guild used to meet in everybody's home.
I see.
They didn't meet in the hall or anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the school used it to play basketball.
Okay.
And as I told you the other day,
Yes.
if they happened to have a dance, the floor was very slippery. The basketball girls had to go down and sort of try to get it
Clean
slippery
up.
so they could play basketball.
I think they put talcum powder on the floor to
Yeah.
make the floor
Slippery.
slippery, and then had to clean it off. Is that it?
Oh, we're on the second page.
Okay. How did you get your milk?
Well, it was delivered.
Mm-hmm.
Must have been LaHave Creamy, I suppose. I don't remember.
Okay. Might have been Bridgewater Creamery.
Over across
We had
the road.
yeah.
The Mr.
The Bridgewater Creamery was the one down at the corner of Maple Street and Bridgewater Dairy.
Oh, yeah, but before that time it was on
The LaHave Creamery was
Yeah.
on the other side of the
Mr. Gillingham.
Mr. Gillingham's.
And across from the LaHave Creamery was the milling company.
That's right. Rafus and Eisner, sir.
That showed in one of the books.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Where did you get groceries?
Captain Ellsworth's store.
Is that
Down
right?
at the, you know where I mean.
Corner of Jubilee Road.
Yeah.
Okay.
He used to deliver.
Is that right?
Yeah.
By horse? Did he?
No,
or
by car, I think.
by car?
Yeah.
Okay.
And he lived up, Ellsworth's family lived up over.
Over the store.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And then,
Um,
and then,
do you remember getting a telephone, or
no, I
We
don't
all-
remember when that came in, but
you always had one,
we
as far
always
as
had
you
one.
know?
Yeah.
I see.
And
Did you travel on the railroad?
we didn't have that much fold and stuff in those
Okay.
days. We didn't travel it very far.
Okay.
We walked most everywhere. And
Along with
we
a whole lot of other
we
people.
didn't have a car or anything.
Hmm.
And we used to, Gow's store, Jean Gow, was almost like another sister to me. We chummed up together with Ede. And the Gows had the hardware store downtown, which is now Cummings. That was the first original Dawson Gow store, as anybody could see me. And they had a rowboat behind the store. More, I don't know what for. Well, on a Saturday, we'd pack a picnic lunch and go down to the store and get in the rowboat. We didn't think anything of life jackets. We didn't have anything like that in those days. We girls would row down the river to Miller's Point.
All the way to Miller's Point?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
And around the point, and there's a little channel there. That's where we swam.
Yes.
And then we had our picnic and rowed back.
Oh, for goodness sakes.
Yeah. So
That's quite a, I mean, that's past
And when-
high head, you know, or,
and when, if the boys wanted the rowboat, they got it before we did, well, then we walked down to Miller's Point.
cross the bridge and down.
Yep.
I heard that, I read that in the Girl Guide.
And
The
walked
Girl
back.
Guides hiked to Miller's Point quite often. That was there's a reference in some of the stories about the guides about the Pines, hiking to the Pines.
Down at the point?
Is that down at the point?
Well, it's a different entrance, more or less. I guess it's the same entrance, but it's different than when we were there. We just walked through. It's more organized now, more.
Yeah, this was in the 30s, and it's Jean Gow writing a story about hiking to the Pines.
Yeah, well, there's lots of pine trees down there.
I know.
There used to be.
I wondered if there were if they went in another direction. There were pine trees everywhere, so it could have been.
I should go down sometime, but now I'm alone. I don't have anybody to tell where I am, so I don't go too far alone.
What about the water carnivals? Do you remember anything about the water carnivals?
Yep. They didn't have those parking.
The parkades
in my day.
No.
And this one on the left was a lovely bank. And we used to people would sit there, and then up and down from Main Street, everybody would be wandering, and Mr. James from the Hay, he'd be buzzing up and down the river in a fancy speedboat, and then they had a queen contest, I think, and then we had fireworks.
And the boats would people's boats would all be decorated.
Yes, and it was.
Would there be fishing? You know, the smaller fishing boats.
A greased pole.
Oh yes,
one thing,
okay.
but I don't know what and a parade of boats. Different people had their boats in.
And the greased pole was over across the river.
Yeah, it was put up on the bridge.
Yes. Oh, off the bridge. That's where they put it. Oh my goodness. Oh. And it just happened on one day or one night.
Yeah.
Where did it?
In August, I imagine.
Yes.
Would be. Yeah.
Did they have? Were there any food? Like little people selling different things on the street or anything like that?
No, it was just more for fun and socializing, meeting people.
I see. Okay.
Watching the activities on the
Watching the activities.
On the river.
Did you ever go downtown on Saturday nights?
Well, not really, but downtown Saturday night a lot when I was working. We used to work Saturday nights.
Okay.
In Dr. Ogilvy's office.
Okay.
That was a big thing. I didn't ever tell you. Well, this is when I was working for the dentist. And it was a Saturday night, as you say. And some lady came in with her, she couldn't have been 8 or 9, to have some teeth extracted. Well, they'd been in town most all the day, but this was the last thing they did before they went home. And Bob took them out, and the child was sick. And all that came up was strawberry ice cream. And I stayed away from strawberry ice cream for years. 'Cause I had to clean it up, besides the teeth that got extracted. He wasn't married. He worked at the Fairview, the Fairview. And he was a workaholic. And it was my first job. I didn't know any better. I thought everybody worked like that. But he would never get me to work like that. Now I got more. And I speak up more now.
So he was a dentist in town. He came to town as a dentist.
Maybe I don't imagine there's anybody around. Remember, what they call him, Big Jim McLeod, who was very, very tall.
Okay.
And he went. And I had the office up there over the King Street Shoes. There.
Okay.
And he worked all the time. And of course, I had to work too.
And what was his name?
Bob Ogilvy.
Bob Ogilvy. Okay. So he came after Big Jim, and then he was followed by
Dr. Schaffner.
Dr. Schaffner. And did you work for Dr. Schaffner too?
Yes, for a little while. I left. Let's see. I was working for Dr. Schaffner when I got married, I think, yes. Or was it? I left anyway. Maybe it was Dr. Ogilvy. I left because I was expecting to get married in August, so I left in June. Okay. Well, the Army kept sending my
husband to be
further west all the time. and I couldn't manage to catch up with him. So we weren't married. So then I wasn't doing anything, so I went back to work for a little while.
Okay.
But I didn't work as hard.
And you were working for Dr. Schaffner then?
Yeah.
I see.
And then finally we were married 8th of November 1945.
Okay. So where did you meet your husband?
Well, my brother Bernard was taking medicine at Dow.
Okay.
And Don was in the same class with him.
I see.
They became friends. And I remember one time they belonged to the Phi Rho fraternity, Halifax. And I guess there must have been a dance coming up. And Ede worked also there as a nurse at the Children's Hospital.
Oh, I see.
And she was going to the dance, and Bern was going to the dance. And Don thought, well, I haven't got anybody to take. Well, Bern said, well, I think Ruth might be interested. So he called me, and I went.
I see.
And things progressed from there. I don't remember what year that was, but
well, it was the early 40s, I guess.
Oh.
When did your husband go into the Army?
Well, the boys it was while the war was going on over
Yeah.
Japan that they had what they call accelerated courses. You would finish maybe like the second year, and you'd have a week off, and then start again the third year.
I see.
And so they were really in the Army, even when they were students.
Yes. Okay.
So that's when.
So they were picking up the slack in Canada.
Well, yeah, because they were trying to get them graduated so they could go to war. Mm-hmm. Thank goodness it ended before.
That's right. Yeah.
But it took quite a toll when we were boarding in St. John. He went to Fredericton for his discharge. And he came back and he said, I have to go over to West St. John. I have spot in my lung. And after that, you look around, there were about 5 of his classmates that had the TB. But Don wasn't a very robust person, and the other ones weren't either.
Okay.
And he was...
so he had to go into the sanatorium in St. John.
West St. John.
I see.
And he was there I was back for 8 months.
I see.
And that's when I was pregnant with Jeannie, and we weren't keeping house, so he went off one day. I said, do you want me to go with you? And he said, no, I'm going. So he went off by himself and checked in. And the next day I left, came across the boat, Princess Helene, and came to Bridgewater.
Came to Bridgewater.
And Jeannie was born on the 6th of January.
Okay, now Jeannie was born in the old Dawson Memorial Hospital.
Right there, not this one.
No. Now, can you tell me something about that hospital?
Well, I tell you, there hadn't been any babies or anything in our house for quite some time. And my mother and my aunt were quite concerned when I had pains. It was on a Sunday. And your dad I was going to him for that checkup. And they swished me right off up to the hospital on Sunday. And there was Jean Walsh.
Yes.
Was the matron.
Okay.
She checked me in, and I went upstairs, got into bed, and my nurse came with Dot Hibb. She later on married Billy Davidson. And she came, and pains lessened or whatever. And your father, Dr. Fraser, came in, and he said to Dot, well, I don't think he's going to be doing anything today. You go over to the nurse's residence, Dot, and go to bed. I'll get pills, sleep. Well, something must have happened early in the morning. But there was some rooms here, and then over here you had to go up 2 steps to the case room. Now, I don't remember how I got there. But I remember Jenny Devine and Dot fixed me up, and I guess I was progressing all right. And finally your father, Dr. Fraser, came in, and I remember saying to him, well, it's about time you got here. And that's where my first child was.
Well, they talk about those steps, of people having to go up those steps.
There were only about 2.
Yeah, no elevator or any stretchers or anything.
I don't remember how I got up them, but
I think they kind of
carry
you sort of by
the
sound of the stories I've heard.
So she was born here in Dawson Memorial Hospital.
Okay.
1947.
Did you ever visit the Women's Institute Museum?
No, I heard about it. I think I must have visited the museum part when it was in the town office.
In the town
Because I
office?
remember seeing things, but we didn't do too much of that. Nowadays, I suppose they do that with school, groups of school kids, do they? They bring them?
Sometimes. Maybe
Sometimes.
not as much as they should, but
Yeah.
sometimes.
No, I don't remember.
What do you remember about, do you remember any women running businesses in Bridgewater? Or being in business?
Well, there was Maggie Herman.
Yes.
They had a small candy and, I suppose, newspapers and things like that.
Yeah. I guess she had newspapers
We'd
as well
drop
as
in
the candy
If we had
store.
any hard licorice pipes
Yes.
and,
Yeah.
and the twisted licorice
Yeah.
and anything else our money could buy.
Okay.
We didn't have too much of that folding or stuff
No.
in those days.
I know.
But everybody in our circle were the same way.
Was the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't think we were deprived of anything.
No.
And I often talked to Chris Pimento out in Calgary, and we reminisce about we had a really good childhood in
Yes.
Bridgewater.
Yeah. Yeah.
Chris says, I sit here and think of who lived there, who lived there. we,
Well, I still want to drive around town and find out where everybody lived.
we do more work.
When you, so other than Maggie Herman, do you remember anybody else that, any other,
Oh, Miss Britton, she had a hat shop.
okay,
Those were the days when you didn't dare to go to church without a hat and gloves
yes,
or anywhere else without
yeah,
being properly attired,
yeah.
gloves and hats.
So Miss Britton was her name,
Yeah,
okay.
and I think that she had her shop where the Carousel Youth Bookstore is,
is now.
if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I remember a hat store. I had no idea who the lady was, but I remember a hat,
I have
I
no idea
remember a
where she
store
lived
there.
in town. I
Yeah,
remember that.
yeah.
But
The,
there were too many seems to be the motion men or families.
yeah, and maybe,
Well, and
was the,
or if a man ran it, maybe his wife or daughter or something would work once in a while, you know.
okay,
Like that White shoe store, Mrs. White used to work in the store. And also they had a daughter, Catherine, she worked
that's
there
right.
once in a while.
Yeah, that's right. I remember Catherine White working there.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay, down at the south end, down at that end of town, at the end of the main street.
What I call it, the miserable.
I call the south end. From Dufferin Street down, going south.
Yeah.
You said you shopped at Ellsworthy store, which was farther down, of course. But what stores do you remember at that end of town?
Well, really, the only store I really remember was Edith's Corker's meat market.
Meat market. Yeah. And there was a fish market next door to it.
And then,
And then who had the bakery?
Mr. Johnson, and he lived up in a house across from the school.
Okay.
And that's where Archie Seymour learned his trade.
Okay.
And then Archie had,
Archie went to the other end of town.
yeah, later on.
He probably went to the other end of town just for that reason, so as not to be.
And I remember, I don't know which, those buildings all joined together, but Louise Slomwhite
Yes,
had a beauty parlor.
that's right.
She and her sister Azilda,
Azilda.
and they were Mrs. Kelly's sisters.
Oh,
And they originally came from Pinehurst.
okay. So they were related to Mrs. Kelly.
Yeah, sisters. Neither one of them were married.
No. No.
Later on years they were married.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they went, and that I think that's an apartment above there now because that door is
There
still
are
there.
apartments up there.
Mm-hmm.
And another apartment up there. I went to school with Doris Rafuse. Her dad used to go up that little alley hill to go around her place.
Oh, okay. To go
And,
into the back.
Her dad worked at the Kitty Gas.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah. And there were some.
And then the Corker meat market was there. Then where the parking lot and that new building
Mm-hmm.
up to the bakers, there was Mrs. Patillo and Mrs. Starr, and the Ramies. I said they had a dress shop, didn't they? The Ramies.
Ramey's.
The Ramies on
Oh.
Front Street somewhere, I believe. And then there was the McCarthy House.
McCarthy House.
And the only one I knew in there was Francis. They called him Skip,
Yes.
and he designed the badge for the West Nova Scotia Regiment.
Yeah.
So all that, there were houses taken down to put up that
Okay, so that,
grocery store. I suppose.
yeah, okay, well then, so those houses were there, and did they burn, or they were just
No,
knocked
I
down?
think they just, as far as I can, I don't remember them going down, but I think they just tore them down to
Build the
accommodate-
something, build the grocery store.
I believe so.
Yeah, because there was a grocery store beside Corkham's Meat Market in
Yeah.
later days,
Yeah.
in the 40s, or the late
No.
40s.
There was Corker's Meat Market. Then I think it was Mr. Johnson's Bakery. And then I don't remember what was in the other buildings, other.
There were some other stores there.
Yeah, there
and,
were, but I
and
forget.
I can't.
I
I know
remember
that
what they were.
I remember Isolde Slonwhite washing my hair, and
Then there was another beauty parlor further up King Street, upstairs somewhere, that Florence Armstrong used to have.
I don't know where hers was. I remember she was there somewhere. The
Yeah.
Hoyts were over across the above the Radio Cafe.
Oh
weren't
yeah,
they?
that was Audrey Hebb,
Okay,
Audrey Frittenberg, wasn't it?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay,
She was Gordie Hebb's sister.
okay.
There was a big family of them. They lived up. Do you know where the Billy Kelly lived? On
Yes.
Dufferin.
Yeah.
Well, that street goes in there. I don't know what they call it. It wasn't from Dufferin to the street. There was only
There was
Hebb
only a
House.
couple. It was
the Hebb House, I think, was there.
the
Now it's all opened up.
yeah. Now it's Hillcrest.
Yeah, Hilco.
It was. It just went in there. It was just a little
No, it was
alley.
a dead
that-
end.
Yeah, that went in there. A dead end.
Oh, most of the houses around town were like
Do you
that.
remember the guide cabin at all?
Yes,
where it was?
Yeah.
Because that was in the woods.
I think that was log too, wasn't it logs?
It was a log cabin at the time, or
And then the Scouts had a cabin over in the woods at where the dump is.
yeah.
That I guess just went down in disrepair.
I guess so. Like when the park was
I can see it.
when
but
the park was
I
made. So
never
can
in it.
I. Yeah. The scout
So
cabin
they
was.
had their own cabin too.
That's right. And they came through the woods
Yep, it was in the woods.
back of your house.
Seems to me it was in behind where one of the Hopkins boys lived one time at the end of the street
Hmm.
up there.
The end of Park Street.
Yeah, so I must get to remember my streets. You know them all. I know where to go, but I forget the names.
Well, when you lived on Alexandra Avenue, it was a dead end street.
Yeah, well, but Robertson's house on the right hand side from the
And was there a gate? Was there a gate that came across, or could anybody go with their garbage any time?
yeah. Let's see now. I guess okay. I don't even remember the garbage trucks going or who did it. I don't know.
Well, I remember the Fairview Hotel had a horse and wagon that pulled that wet with garbage.
Well, it must have been horse and wagon my day. 'Cause
But people must have taken their own garbage there.
I don't really remember what we did with it.
Did any of your brothers go over there to shoot rats? Did you?
Yeah. my brother Bird and his great friend Bob Cameron.
Oh
Who
yes.
lived to the street below us. Bob and Byrne studied almost every night together. They were just like that. And they would go over there occasionally
Uh-huh.
and take, must have been a BB gun, I suppose,
I guess, yeah.
and shoot the rats.
Yeah, I used to hear
And
about that.
Then put them on the fence, on the post.
Oh my goodness. A post over there?
Yeah,
And
I
sort
guess
of,
it must have been I don't don't think it was actually a gate. Maybe it was just a
Picket fence or something?
a fence.
Yeah, I see.
I mean, a
I
rope,
see.
not a rope, but thing.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah. But yet, I don't know if anybody, we never got any rats at our place. I wonder if anybody further, this is Roberts or whatever.
yeah, I never
And
knew.
I don't know
what
where
it-
they all went, where they filled it in, or what they did to it.
I don't know. I don't know whether I want to know. The, okay, Mrs. Woodworth.
Oh, well, it was the days that people, our crowd, didn't have too much to
Money.
work with. And Mom Mays used to make us things, and we'd try them on. And this is a favorite saying in our house. Mom, I can't wear that. That looks so homemade. It looks awful. And Mom would say, now just a minute, Ruth. When it gets pressed, it'll look all right. We had to wear it anyway. We wore it. And occasionally, if Mom couldn't make something for us, maybe like a coat, we would go to Mrs. Woodworth, who lived on Jubilee Road, and we would go through
The dump.
the pond and through the path in the woods, because there weren't any houses over there at all,
No.
and go to Mrs. Woodworth and be fitted for whatever she was making at that time, and then come home again.
Do you remember sort of a little bridge that you went across where the...
Well, there must have been, but that kind of
Okay.
escapes me. There was like a dam, wasn't there?
Yeah.
And the water.
And the water went down over it. The water out of that pond went down.
Yeah, but
Into
there
the
must
river.
have been a
There must have been a little brook or something.
Because we never went down that way and that way.
No.
We always went up through the woods path.
Well, I don't think any of the streets went over to Jubilee Road, did they? Did any of the, except for King Street? I don't think any of the other roads went over as far as Jubilee. Maybe Prince Street did.
Well, the Front Street did. Or where-
Yeah, King
and
Street,
up over-
yes. Yeah.
But no,
But the way to get
No,
to
I think-
Jubilee Road
I think
was...
Pine Street, we never went on it too much. I think that was the last street going up there.
That's right.
Well, we never went down that end of the
No.
town.
No.
We sort of stayed around our own end of the town.
Yes. Yeah.
Seems we did.
Yeah. Well, everything was pretty well there. Tell me about Halloween.
Well, we never did too much damage. At least I didn't think we did. But there's a Judge Roberts. He lived across, right next to the Anglican church. And he had I call him a handyman and a chauffeur, and Angus did it, Angus Domino. And he used to patrol in front of Judge Roberts' house Halloween night. So we never got into Judge Roberts' house to any treats. Angus would shoo us off. And that's about all I remember of Halloween. I remember. Did you ever hear bell snickling?
Yeah, kind of, but I didn't ever hear of it here. Really, was there much of it
Oh yeah,
went on?
we used to go.
Bell snickling at Christmas time.
Yeah, we didn't. I guess we sang for the people. We didn't have any. They didn't give us any treats or anything.
Okay.
And I remember one time in Shelburne, when Bob Campbell came there as a doctor. He said, Ruth, do you remember bell snickling? We used to do that at home in Bridgewater. I said, yes, but up here I think they call them Santa Claus boys
For heaven's sakes.
in Shelburne
Yeah.
County.
Yeah.
Well, he said, I miss them.
I think as a child I might have seen bell snicklers
Don't
outside
ask
the
me.
house a
Don't
couple
ask
of
me how you
times.
spell it
maybe.
because I wouldn't know.
I'd forgotten all about them.
Yeah, bell snickling.
What about getting your ice? You told me about getting ice from the bakers.
Oh yeah, I was looking at one of those books last night. It was Huey Baker that he cut ice at Wiles Lake or went Wiles Lake. What's the lake up there? Anyway, he used to cut ice in our day. We didn't have any refrigerators like they have nowadays.
No.
We had what they call ice box.
Yeah.
And Mr. Baker would come along the street, different streets, and have these great big blocks of ice in the back of his truck, whatever he was driving, and with ice
The ice pick.
ice picks.
Yeah.
There must be a different name for that.
I don't know what it's
Well,
called.
and he'd cut off a chunk and bring it in and put it in the top of the ice box, was where the ice went. And then was one of the very ice, let's see, ice box stood about 1, 2, 3 drawers there, about that
Yeah.
high. And the top was had where the ice was. And then down below was a very big part. Is where you kept your
Yeah, where,
perishables.
okay, where you kept the
Meats or
perishables,
bread.
yeah.
I mean, butter and.
Of course, you never kept anything for any length of
No, you
time
couldn't keep anything for any
in
length of
those
time.
days.
And then we used to have Mr. Frank Carver from up New Germany way somewhere. He and his wife would bring fresh produce like peas and beans and carrots.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, with horse and wagon. Different nights
Okay.
that come down and do some of the streets.
Yeah,
And Mom used to buy things from them like, and they used to make good homemade dairy butter. Oh, was it ever good?
is that right?
Yeah. And
Okay.
we'd buy peas and beans in season.
So did you have a garden in your backyard
No.
at all? No.
Never had
No.
big enough, never.
Yeah,
No, we never had a garden.
yeah,
Bought them from either Captain Ellsworthy or Mr. Carver.
yeah.
And
What do you remember about boats on the river? You know, like ships coming in. Do you remember seeing any ships that when you were down at Captain Ellsworthy's?
Captain
'Cause-
Pumlico used to bring his 4 masters up.
Okay,
He was from Dublin Shore.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Lydia E. Kerr was one of them. I remember them being there loading lumber, but I never was on them.
No, no. So they were loading lumber and they were on the other side of the river
Yes, where
where the
The
government
wharf
wharf is.
those old derelict things are. They should sink those or something.
We all have ideas about things
Yeah,
like
we all
that.
have our little quirks that we wish they'd improve on. So,
Well, can you think of anything else that you'd like to tell me about Bridgewater?
well, I don't know. There's not much to. It's changed a lot since this is the first time I've lived back in Bridgewater since I was married in '45. I came back for visits, but
Yes, yeah.
it has changed a lot. That side of the river that I'm living on now wasn't anything over there.
It was a forest.
It was the rink and the station,
Yes,
and
yeah,
but now it's all
yeah,
changed.
yeah, yeah.
But
You know, another story I wanted you to tell me, though,
what?
was about the Gow girls,
Oh,
where they lived.
Maggie and Emma Gow.
Yes,
They were 2 maiden ladies, and Maggie was the chief teleoperator. And what's that street going up there?
Phoenix.
Phoenix Street. On the corner of Phoenix there in Pleasant was a garage.
Yes,
Then you come down the hill, and it was Miss Gates, Billy Gates's boarding house.
okay.
Then and that's where Maggie and Emma boarded. And then the next place, which is a house now again, was the telephone office. And Maggie was the supervisor, whatever, in charge.
The head person.
Yeah, and Emma worked on the switchboard.
Okay,
And they came to our house on the avenue every Christmas
I see.
and every Sunday for dinner.
Is that right?
Yeah. And Emma was the churchgoer. Well, we'd have supper, and then Emma would go off to church. Maggie would stay at the house. Emma would come back and get her after church. Then they'd walk home.
Okay. Now, where did she go to church? Did she go
Well,
to...
they went to the Presbyterian first, and then they went to the Methodist
When the Presbyterian...
Yeah.
Yeah.
and they were just, I think they were cousins of Walter Gow.
I was going to say, were they cousins of
I believe
Walter's?
so.
Okay.
But they were always like that. I don't know where they were born. I have no idea. We don't.
Yeah, because I remember
They were,
hearing the
they were
Gow
always there,
girls.
like a fixture.
Yes, yeah, the Gow girls. That was
Yeah.
that was one of the fixtures. Okay, tell me about Laura Gow's
Laura Gow was
House.
Walter Gow's sister.
Sister.
It seems to me she worked in Cape Breton as a secretary. That's where she met her husband.
Okay,
And then I don't know what died, I guess, or something.
I think he died.
Then
eh?
she
Yeah.
came home back, and she worked down at the store,
I see.
like what Jean was doing.
At the Gow's
And I don't remember when that house was built, or the old Gow house was taken down. Sure.
It's about 1930, 1932, 1930, it's somewhere around there that she inherited, well, she didn't inherit it, but she acquired the house from her brothers.
Yeah, and that's when she built that house.
And so the house faced the tennis courts then?
Yeah, the old Gow house faced the tennis court, yeah.
Yeah. And it had and you told me it had a fence along Alexander Avenue?
Well, on the Alexander Avenue side, where Mr. Gillingham had, where that house is.
Mr. Gillingham has
there
a
was
nice rock
board
fence.
High board
Okay.
fence. You couldn't see into the yard.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember when that house was built in Mr. Gillingham's garden.
Nah, it's after you left.
It must have been. That's about the only new house on the avenue.
That's right. Until you get down to
Yeah, until you get down
to the end of
the
by the dump.
Then they're all new.